Hey YouTube, I want to make a video about Alexander technique and dating, which is something I've avoided slightly, but I think it's time to start talking around the edges of this thing. And for this video, I want to talk about the experience of attraction and observing and being observed by someone, particularly in the context, I guess, almost of, you might call it the male gaze, or when someone is attracted to someone else and how that comes across. So context for this is I made a video about a year ago, I guess now, where I demonstrated the role of expanded awareness in how someone comes across on, at least on camera there, but it works even more powerfully in person. So when someone's awareness is completely collapsed down and all they're aware of is the target, if you like, I use the word creepy, but also intense and just a lot this is. Whereas if I expand out again, become more peripherally aware and can notice other things, then it becomes a lot less intense, a lot less creepy. And this is something I think particularly women experience on the receiving end from many men. And I just had a discussion with a course student about this, and his theory was that video did well because women tweeted that a lot and shared it as kind of, yes, we understand this experience. So men probably have it less as an experience.
Videos of women Twitter that a lot I found on the web. Take a look.
No, thanks, Siri. That's not a good time. Live. So the experience of attending to someone you find attractive is a tricky one. And I'm going to bring in an idea from this excellent book, which I'll talk about a lot, The Master and His Emissary, talking about different brain hemispheres and how they relate to attention and awareness. But he talks about how the two different hemispheres of the brain they're organized around different ways of attending to the world. That's their primary difference. And there's a lot of pop psychology around brain hemispheres that you may have come across as almost certainly wrong about how different brain hemispheres are doing different things. Most of what you may have seen out there appears to be wrong, but there is very important lateralization across the hemispheres. So very broadly, the left hemisphere is a narrow attention, focus, looks at objects out of context. It's analytical. It is frozen in time, and it breaks things into pieces, so to speak. The right hemisphere is a broad and open awareness. It looks at the relationships between things. It sees time, it sees relationships, it sees the flow of things, if you like. It sees the big picture, the gestalt, the whole thing at once. And he gives a wonderful example of why it's a good thing to have these two kinds of ways of attending to the world, these ways of experiencing the world, which is around predation and being the predator. So when you are an animal and you are hunting your prey, you want your narrow attention to follow your prey wherever they go so you don't lose them. That is the narrow focus left hemisphere, task-oriented. You see the object with a utilitarian perspective, right? You see you're a wolf, you're hunting a rabbit, I don't know, and you see the rabbit not as a rabbit in the environment, but as dinner. Right? It has a purpose. You want to get to that thing. In the meantime, I guess the wolf is a bad example, but the predator is also potentially being hunted itself, right? So you need to also have a wide open monitoring view of the world while you're hunting your prey, just in case something attacks you, right? So you need both of these things at once, even though they are fundamentally different ways of seeing the world. Now, I think what's happening when, let's say, I switch between the narrow and the broad and what was being picked up on in that video, and what I think many women experience with the male gaze thing, is over-focus and over-dominance of that left hemisphere, that focused mode that comes across as intense and creepy. And this, I'll do it again now. It's a forgetting of the wider space. I could be hunted now. Something could attack me and I wouldn't notice, right? I'm just focusing on the camera. If I zoom out, I'm looking at the camera still, but I would notice things. And it's that sense of being collapsed down that comes across as intense and weird. I guess men experience it from other men in the context of aggression, right? If you've you think you've annoyed someone, or you have annoyed someone. They are staring you down. It's the same kind of intensity in that experience, and that's interesting, right? So if you're in a dating, you're in a bar kind of context, you really don't want to give the impression that the person you're looking at is your prey. You don't want to give them that much attention that it's obvious that you're hunting them, that you're seeing them as an object, as something that would meet a need almost. These are the kind of things that attention is for. And there's some theory around, you don't, dating is kind of like a game, right? You don't want to come across too strongly. You want to kind of show that you have options and that you're picking someone, whatever. There's all that stuff as well. But the ability to stay zoomed out while attending to something, but being able to attend to other things as well, and kind of going away, come back, go away and come back. None of that's possible if you can't go away. If you're only able to focus on the thing you're looking at, you can't move your attention away because it's locked in this space of narrowed awareness. And this comes across as a felt sense as very intense. So I think there's a skill to be learned around giving the people you're talking to less attention in a way that makes them feel more comfortable. So you still give them attention in the same way that I'm still looking at the lens, while I'm also still aware of everything else and could move my attention, is a much nicer way of being interacted with that it feels less transactional, it feels less threatening, it feels more authentic and easier and more playful because you're not stuck in this narrow frame. Now, one of the reasons I'm a little bit concerned about how to teach this stuff is that I don't want to be a pickup artist guru I have no interest in any of that stuff. It's a weird and uncomfortable space. However, I think many people are unaware of this thing that they do because attention is dominant. And people don't realize that they're stuck in attention mode, not in open awareness mode, and they can switch between the two. So they're not intending to be creepy, if you like, but it is what's happening. So I think teaching the skills of being able to expand out not only would make them find more successful at what they're doing, but it would ultimately give them the tools and the power to make different choices, because that's ultimately what this is about. It's, oh, look, I appear to be over-focusing on this person I'm looking at. I don't want to be doing that, actually. I want to go and talk to my friends. I want to do something else. And as a consequence, you will improve in your dating life. You'll be able to be less intense and off-putting, perhaps, in how you come across. But you'll also just have a wider array of options in life anyway. You can do other things. I need to explain that a bit more carefully about being able to do other things. The sense of you can only engage with what you can notice. You can only make choices in relation to what you can notice. So if all you can notice is the guy you're looking at, then you can't make choices around anything else, like walking away, like talking to your friends, like looking at a different girl, whatever, right? So there is, I think, value in learning these skills and teaching them in a way that is non-zero sum, where everyone benefits and it doesn't add to weirdness in the world. It subtracts from weirdness and everyone considers it to be a good thing. Will I ever make a course on Alexander technique for dating? Probably not. Will I include a couple of lessons in the course around how to use awareness control to engage with people more playfully, more authentically, and with that stuff could be applied in dating context? Sure. I think that's fine. So I just wanted to kind of talk about this as a thing that's on my mind that I might play with some more because it just came up in a conversation. So if any of this was interesting, I think this is a longer one than usual, almost 10 minutes now. Let me know. And if you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Always happy to chat. So thanks a lot and see you next time.